Today, we're diving into what I like to call the Buddha's divine filing system.
Okay, so just imagine this for a second. You've got this huge library of wisdom. I'm talking philosophy, ethics, meditation guides, the whole shebang. But you've got no paper, no printing press, and forget about cloud storage. How in the world do you keep all that knowledge from just disappearing?
Well, the answer is actually hidden inside this ancient collection of Buddhist scriptures. They tackled this exact problem more than 2,000 years ago. And their solution? It was so incredibly clever. It's basically a filing system built for the human mind.
All right, so let's get to know this absolute cornerstone of Buddhist literature. It's called the Ekottarika Āgama.
Now, the name itself, it translates to the Increase One Collection, or the Numbered Discourses. And right there, that's our first big clue to its secret. See, it's not just a name, it's pretty much an instruction manual for how this whole thing is organized.
And hey, this isn't some dusty, obscure text we're talking about. No, this is one of the 4 major foundational collections of early Buddhist teachings. It's thought to have been put together by the Buddha's own disciples, like right after he passed away. This was their big project, to save everything he ever taught.
And that brings us right to the core idea, this Increase One filing system. It's really an ancient solution to a problem that feels so modern, right? Information overload.
So, you might be asking why create this system in the first place? Well, the story goes right there in the preface that it was the Buddha's top disciple for memory, a guy named Ananda, who came up with it. His whole mission was to create a system, an order, to make sure this treasure of teachings would never be forgotten.
So how does it actually work? Honestly, it's just brilliantly simple. You start by grouping all the teachings that talk about one thing. You know, the one path, the one key practice. That becomes chapter 1. Then you find all the teachings that come in pairs, like the 2 truths or 2 types of virtue. Boom, chapter 2. And you just keep going like that, 3s, 4s, 5s, all the way up to lists of 11.
And that's why it was so genius. Remember, this was an oral tradition. So this system wasn't just about being tidy, it was a powerful memory tool, a mnemonic device. If you could just remember the number, say 4, you had a hook to pull out the entire teaching associated with it. It's literally a filing system for your brain.
Okay, so that's the theory. Pretty cool, right? Now let's see how this thing actually works in practice with a real example straight from the text.
All right, so if you flip to the chapter on 10 things, you'll find something called the 10 recollections. These are basically 10 mindfulness practices. You've got remembering the Buddha, remembering his teachings, the Dharma, and the community, the Sangha, and the list goes on to include things like virtue, generosity, breathing, and even death.
Now, did you catch those first 3? The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Pay attention here, because for millions of Buddhists today, that's not just the start of a list. Those are the 3 jewels, the absolute bedrock of their faith. It's what they take refuge in.
So you see the pattern here, right? Whether it's the 3 jewels, the 4 noble truths, or the noble eightfold path, this numerical system takes this gigantic, complex library of wisdom and makes it perfectly organized, totally accessible, and, this is the key, super easy to remember.
But look, a great filing system is, well, it's only as good as the files inside it. So let's look past the brilliant structure for a minute. What's the ultimate message here? What's the whole point of all these teachings?
And that brings up a really fascinating question. Could you take this entire library, all this wisdom, and boil it down to just one single memorable verse? Well, according to Ananda, the guy who organized it all, the answer was a resounding yes.
He said that this one verse captures the essence of everything. Do no evil, practice all good, purify your own mind. This is the teaching of all Buddhas. I mean, how simple is that? So direct, but it covers everything.
And this wasn't just Ananda giving a nice little summary. No, he argued this verse is the actual foundation for the whole thing. Think about it. Do no evil. That's all your ethics. Practice all good. That's your path of personal growth. And purify your mind. That's the ultimate goal of wisdom. He said every single teaching in the entire collection fits right into that framework.
Of course, a library of wisdom is totally useless without librarians, right? And the text is super clear that this was a huge community effort. So, who were these people? Who were the ones carrying this torch forward?
What's really cool is that the Ekottarika Āgama isn't just a dry list of teachings. It's also kind of a who's who of the early community. It actually documents who is considered the best at certain skills.
It's like they had a team of specialists. You had the monk Shariputra, who was the go-to guy for wisdom. Then there was Mahakashyapa, the master of ascetic practices. And it wasn't just monks. The nun Kema was also famous for her great wisdom. You had a layman, Siddhartha, who was the poster child for generosity. And of course, there's our guy Ananda, the one who remembered it all.
The point is, this wasn't some exclusive boys' club. The text specifically names monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen. It shows that the entire community, every part of it, was absolutely vital to keeping this tradition alive.
So when you step back and look at it, what you have is this incredible system. It's like an ancient spiritual database that managed to organize and preserve a deep, complex philosophy for thousands of years, way before writing was even a common thing.
And that really leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? Here we are, in our digital age, totally drowning in data, scrolling through endless feeds, getting pinged with notifications, and this ancient system is kind of looking at us and asking a really sharp question. What is your system? How do you organize and remember what truly matters?